Whichever way you look at it, the Goldfields Water Supply Scheme is really one of the world's most remarkable pieces of engineering. The 350-mile long pipeline, which stretches all the way from the well-watered Darling Range up to the arid Goldfields, lies across this land almost like a giant black snake on the red dirt, perhaps even a creature out of Aboriginal mythology. Although 4,000 gallons of water comes down this pipeline every minute, you can't hear a thing, which is just as it should be. The scheme itself seems to be in keeping with the vastness and the silence of this land. But the water doesn't get there by itself. This is Ghouli Number 6 pumping station, now in the closing hours of its working life, 70 years and 10. Ghouli is the pumping station, a shed cum post office, a small collection of houses, and the mulga. The pump itself is an extraordinary collection of rods, wheels and cranks, smothered by steam and oil and saturated by noise. In terms of today's engineering, the pump is something out of a museum. Across a clay pan sits a squat, sophisticated, clean, super-modern, all-electric pump, ready to take over from its ancient companion. But remember, before you laugh, that this $8 million scheme was financed and built not by overseas finance and foreign companies, but by the state government. Remember, too, that every powerful stroke of these giant pistons means that people have been able to live for generations in and around the desert. Every grind and rattle means that animals and plants have flourished where once there was only sand and scrub. Every gallon of water through the steel artery is a liquid tribute to the genius of C.Y. O'Connor. This 1 million gallon tank, a reservoir for Ghouli, is filled by number 5 pumping station, 46 miles westwards. Station engineer Jock Fraser explains.
Well, this is what we call the receiving tank. The water pumped from number 5 station, that's the station immediately west of here, comes into this tank. We regulate the flow from number 5. We have a valve west of the tank here, and we can regulate the flow into the tank to keep as constant a level as possible against what we are drawing out. The take-off to our pump, number 6 pump, is about halfway down there, and we draw from here, then pump up to a similar tank at number 7. It's a steam-driven pump. It's what we call a triple expansion steam engine, driving a double-acting reciprocating pump. It means there are 2 plungers, and the plungers pump on both ends, effective on both ends. And with each stroke of the plunger, there's 40-odd gallons of water go into the pipeline. The engines are getting on for 70 years old. They were installed here about 1902. And they've been going without a break ever since. This last few years, the demand for water in the Goldfields has increased considerably, and our pumping hours have extended, naturally because of that. But some years ago, 10 more, in the winter pumping, we were lucky if we pumped 8 hours a day. But nowadays, even the winter, we're doing practically 24 hours a day. In that 24 hours, we're shifting close to 6 million gallons.
6 million gallons, and every pint means life. The pumps are powered by steam generated in 2 big boilers fed with bush-cut timber, gimlet, salmon gum, morel. The fires devour 5 tons of wood every 8-hour shift. When we shot this film, the outside shade temperature was about 103 degrees. An assessment of the temperature working alongside these boilers is perhaps best left to the imagination. Ghouli is like a landlocked ship, and its sweating crew, sailors surrounded by water, but never afloat. If politicians instead of engineers knew what they were talking about, Ghouli and the pipeline would never have been built. It has never been done in the history of the world, and it never will be done. That quote is from Parliament, 1892.
There's something live about the steam engine. You look at the steam engine and then you go over to this new station and have a look at the electric motors. It's like a row of bodies in a morgue sort of business, but the steam engine is alive, it's going, the steam's hissing out of it, you get the motion of the engine, the sound of the motion of the engine, and it's, well, it is something.
This weekend, if all goes well with the sterile electric monster across the way and the birth pangs are limited, then Ghouli will die. The fires will go out. The pistons will stop. The stench of hot oil and steam will clear, and silence will drop, like a shroud, across number 6 steam pumping station. Yet the scheme will continue. It will develop and enlarge because there's no substitute for water, no alternative to the pipeline. The genius and foresight of C.Y. O'Connor will live, perhaps for as long as civilization remains in this country. What greater memorial could a man want?